basically, I either sit on that bush over there or in the river right next to the wedge where the path goes. But if I'm not feeling very comfortable, because I don't know what could happen, I just sit in this bush over here. So in case so 5 people walking, I can flash over the wall or just try to go away on top to the tower. Yep.
Well, if you're here or if you're here, you're still going to see the 5 people either way. But I would rather you be here so you see them earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go into lane. Here. Okay. So the first thing that should be going through your mind in any laning phase, regardless of champion you're playing, is which laner has control over the waves early.
Okay, so since I'm against the channel over here, I know that he can pretty much bully me and basically run away. So
Right.
especially because if he starts with the rope, I don't know which ability that is, but if he starts with the rope, I can't trade with him. He's just basically going to get some free autos from it, and I'm gonna lose the trade. Or if he goes with the boomerang, I need
Yeah,
to sit.
they typically start with the boomerang, which I believe is his Q, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, I know his ability. I just don't know which position they're on, and perhaps I thought about him trying to cheese me for a moment with going stealth and waiting for me to push a bit, and then they can probably level 2 gank me with Eve, because I really can't fight 2 people. And so basically, I wanted to sit back and see how it goes, because I just never saw a way to trade with him on level 1. So yeah, I tried not to lose too much health against him.
Yeah, so that was a really long-winded way of saying that he outranges you, so you can't do anything to him.
Yeah, story.
Yes. It's fine. It's just like, it's fine to take all that into account, but the main thing that you want to focus on is just, can you do anything to him? Because if this isn't this champion, and let's say you're against like what's a champion? Like a Garen, since you also play Garen. Jackson to Garen, Jax has control early. So you need to take that into account when you're going into lane of who should be the one pushing, who should be the one that has to respect the opponent because they're stronger early, etc. Because if you don't go with that in mind, even if you're wrong, you should at least have some kind of guess, because if you don't have that guess, then how are you going to improve? Because you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to hit the minions because level 2 advantage. But if it's a matchup where you're not allowed to have level 2 advantage, then you're just going to die and be like, well, why'd I die? I had level 2. Or try to get level 2 at least. So he leashes, you're here, you last hit. This is good. I like that you're standing in the brush to avoid getting autoed. Yep. And then, yeah, you just play safe until you hit level 2. He's going to slow push. Okay. And now here, yep, you can go for full trades.
Yeah, so,
okay.
Yeah, that was kind of bad. I overstayed. I should have left away after these hits.
Well, yeah, so there's a couple things. One, you didn't start your E before you queued. So you would want to E here to block this auto. Or just in general have it start up, because you have that 1 second wait time before you can recast. So you start your E, and then you jump on him, proc his bone plating, stun him, and then walk away. You're not going to win trades when he has bone plating, because it's just going to block too much damage. And he's going to proc his passive, which does a ton early. But regardless, the idea to trade was fine. Another thing I didn't notice until just now. When you're going into trade, right? Let's see. Here, like as soon as you take damage, you should be using your corrupting potion.
Okay.
Because you're not using just corrupting pot as a healing potion, but also because of the damage it gives you. So you need to be keeping that in mind. That little burn is a lot more than you'd think.
Okay.
And then yeah, so he pushes the wave. Continues to push. Continues to push.
So the reason why I'm opting into fighting in that amount of minions is because it helps to stack the E damage.
Yes.
Because that's the reason why I'm fighting in so many of his minions. I know that's usually a mistake.
Okay, but you have to keep in mind that that extra damage is only beneficial if you don't immediately take a ton of damage from the minions anyway. Because like when you trade, you're jumping in here. Give it a second, and you're blocking the minion damage. Great, and you're getting the stun. Cool. But then look at how many minions are going to be hitting you for how long. Like that's a lot of minion damage.
Yeah, I basically lost the trade because of it.
Yeah, I mean the trade was still beneficial for you, but it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
And the reason that it's not necessary is because look where Udyr is. Look where the wave is. You can stop him from crashing this wave, and then all you have to do is just wait for Udyr to clear his camps, or you can even ping for assistance, whatever. Udyr walks up, and it's an easy kill. But if you try to do it solo, it's going to be a little bit harder because he can just use his E and dash away.
Yeah, and the other thing that I forgot about is that he actually has Ignite, and this is why I die here.
Yeah. And then, yep, that you could have killed him. All you have to do is like, you see he flashes, you flash stun him, and then continue to auto.
Yeah, but because I didn't use my ward, I didn't know where Eve is, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, you say that, but if you're trying to avoid Evelyn, you wouldn't be trading here anyway. But once you've already committed this point, you may as well go for the kill, because you've already taken the risk. Because if she were in the brush, you're dead regardless.
Yeah.
And then now we have Udyr come in.
Yeah.
And then boink.
Yep. And then
yeah, and you die. But yeah, it's just, it's so much harder than it had to be. And now you missed this huge wave.
Yep.
Actually, hold on. I did not check your gold before you left base. Let's see. Okay, 628, 630, 64. Okay. Instead of... Oh, wait. Never mind. I was gonna say boots longsword, but you can't because you're runes.
Yeah. I don't think that I like playing with the free boots, to be fair. I think that it's actually doing more harm than not.
It just depends on the matchup, because in some matchups you don't need the boots, but yeah, in this kind of matchup you would not take matchable footwear into them. Yeah. In some matchups, see here's the problem, because I can go into all this, but that kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier of like I don't want you to overthink your runes. But yeah, there are ways that you could optimize this to make the matchup easier, but I'm not going to focus on that too much.
Okay.
Maybe in the future, if you work on what we talk about and you want to do another session, then we could go into that kind of stuff.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good.
But yeah. So, Ruby Crystal is fine, because, yeah, you just can't buy boots. And unfortunately, you don't have enough gold for... Wait, actually, wait. Did you? Oh, wait, you did have enough gold for Sheen. What am I saying? You just buy Sheen. I think. Hold on. Wait, no, I'm dumb. Because you had 650, I think.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I
never
mean,
mind,
I could
never mind.
have...
I don't know why I thought. I guess because of the control word, I thought you, like... I don't know, I can't math. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, Ruby Crystal's good. I don't like the control ward, though. So,
Okay.
the reason I don't like control ward... you can't defend it.
Okay.
If you're ahead and you're going to be pushing a lot, then control ward can be helpful.
So basically, if I have tempo, then I can go back and defend the ward. But if I put it, then I get shoved under my turret. He's just gonna go and kill it. And
Yeah. That's all that's going to happen. You're just going to get poked, he's going to kill the ward, and then it doesn't do anything.
yeah, like this sounds very very logical right now, and I kind of feel dumb because I never thought about it.
Yeah.
This is kind of embarrassing, but yeah, like.
Okay, so we were in a bad position, but now we aren't, but I'll explain. So going into this, when you're coming back into lane, you are in a bad position, and why are you in a bad position?
Because my wave is going to push, slowly push towards him, and
Right.
I'm gonna be gank prone.
Yep. It's going to push towards him, and then, in theory, he can set up a freeze, and there's not really anything you can do about it.
Yep.
Because you died, and he got this significant item advantage over you.
Yep.
But what ends up happening, because he's an ape, is he ends up just pushing it. And then as soon as you see this Q, you should be very excited, and all you have to do is last hit. Because you just keep the wave on your side. And
Yeah, so
it's all good.
basically I shouldn't auto here. I should just...
Yeah, you're autoing way more than you need to be. And it's going to end up pushing into him again, and then you go for this trade. And
Which is
it's going to be really hard to
shitty.
force this trade, because... Like... You just don't... One, you don't have the mobility. Two, you're not using your E before queuing. And you're not using correct new pot. Because... You're... Okay. So are you familiar with Time Warp Tonic?
Yeah, it gives you some health immediately once you pop it.
Yep. Yeah, so it gives you health, and it also gives you movement speed.
Movement speed?
Yes.
Okay, well that's me not reading the entire rune.
Right,
Again.
that's why Jax players take it, because it makes it so much easier to land your E.
I see.
Because you get 5% movement speed, and you have 350,
Jax
so...
is already fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent amount of movement speed. It's like half of boots, or a little bit over.
Yeah, and when he doesn't have any, it's a no-brainer. Because I'm faster than him anyway. I think he has 340 or something like that.
Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, if you go in using your E already, and then you hop onto him with Corrupting Pot, much easier to stick. Okay. And so he begins to push into you. You go into him again.
And this is
And then,
just
yeah,
a
you die.
retarded play. Yeah, this was super retarded. I don't know why I went
Yeah.
over there.
And it's because you're just not realizing that you already have him in a good position. You just want to be able to farm safely. Another thing. If you're going to be trading on Jax, the main thing you need to be paying attention to is, do you have passive stacks? You're familiar with his passive, correct?
Sorry, I was thinking about the ultimate, but you mean the attack speed from just auto-attacking consecutively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you don't have any passive stacks, it's going to be a lot harder to win a trade. Not that you can't. There are some cases where you can. But it's at least something you should be taking into account before you trade. Because if you let this wave push into you, even if, let's say, he crashes the wave, whatever, at least on the way of it pushing back, you can build up your passive and then look for a trade. But you're not doing that. You're just jumping on him immediately. And so you don't have the attack speed you're supposed to have to do the damage.
Kind of.
Yeah, and he finally kills you.
There's so much things that I learned in like this short conversation right now about Jax. I literally, because I've been watching videos, some people are like, yeah, you should just go like this, you just jump on him and you do that and you do that, but I'm losing trades and I don't understand why. Like, the KO game was pretty much the same. Level 1, I absolutely bully her. Level 2, it's kind of going bad. Level 3, she literally obliterates me. And I have no idea why.
Yep.
It's just, you know, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what is going on? I just can't comprehend it. And I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't know. So this has been greatly helpful.
Okay, so we're
So
slow
another
pushing
thing
again
that I
here.
don't really know is when am I strong? Like I'm supposed to be tanky on level 6 when I turn on my ult. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's doing a lot, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, I think that I should be like, I'm playing against Morde, for instance, but you know what? Let's just focus on this game, okay? One at a time. One at a time, sorry.
Okay, so let me go back to catch up before you were discussing that. So,
Sorry.
okay, the wave is now slow pushing into him. There's not anything you can do to stop that, so you have to just accept it. All you need to do is place a ward in the brush, and then just look to crash the wave. The reason that you ward now and not at a different time is because now you're actually in a vulnerable state. When he was pushing into you, you don't need the ward because you're near your turret and you're not worried about getting ganked. So now we would need the ward. You could that would be a great timing as well, right after killing the minion. But we don't have the ward. We're slow pushing. And then here's the issue. So you're jumping on him, but it completely defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do. Because all you should be focusing on is crashing this wave and staying healthy. And if he's respecting you, then he just lets you crash this wave, and then he catches the wave under turret. But when you do all this, then you come up with this opportunity to get caught, whereas if you were full HP, you can't die here, Devlin. And then the wave pushes back. Okay. So I'm going to go for like another minute and a half of this game. And then if you want, we can look at a different game. I don't think there's any purpose in going past 10 minutes because there's too many things to cover in just that window.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, if I usually stop all the game, it's kind of like I'm in control, and then I kind of just look at the map a lot more. And this is another thing that I've seen myself not do. Like before 10 minutes, I don't really give much attention to the map. It's like I'm basically focusing on, can I push this? Can I beat him up? Can I make him go back? Can I go get third gold, plate gold? If yes, then I'm just focusing on that, and literally nothing else exists on the map. Like, obviously, if it's something that's happening near me, like for instance Herald or something like that, or my jungler is getting chased and something like that, I sometimes forget to look at it. Sometimes I'm not even moving because I think that it's just lost, and that's a conscious decision. I see him, I might have saved him, but in my mind he's already dead, so you're on your own, bro. I'm just like going away and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because usually if I can get my opponent away from the lane and I can get a lot of turret gold, I'm just spiraling out of control and nobody can figure out what to do with me. So 4 people are coming and we're getting free objectives and whatnot, so it's not a bad trade. But I really don't know if that's the correct decision, because I'm giving someone a kind of a fat shutdown at that point, and maybe you, one of my problems is that when I'm strong, I don't know how strong I am, and I'm just doing dumb shit like overstaying or over pushing or yeah, dying for no reason to something that can become a bigger threat than me, like giving up 1 gig gold shutdown to a Yasuo, and then everyone's fucked.
So one aspect of knowing how strong you are is just looking at tab and seeing your items compared to your opponents. And then also thinking about, like, do you have all of your abilities up? Is your passive up? Whatever. If something's missing, like if you don't have your passive built up, then you're going to be weaker. Or if your ultimate's down, you're going to be weaker. So you just have to look at, like, different things in the game. There's so many things to cover to say, like, is a champion strong in X situation or Y situation without very specific, like, screenshot of the game.
Yeah, that's kind of impossible to discuss unless we need to go over 160 matchups, which is insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I kind of get it. So basically, my mistakes are that I'm not um, outside the first 3 waves. I'm not really paying attention to the state of the wave,
Mhm.
and I need to work on that. And the way I'm trading is kind of reckless because I don't know the champion very well, I suppose. Do you think that that's a fair assertion?
So, yeah. Some things that you mentioned in that, there's a couple things.
Yep.
So, you said you're not paying attention to waves after the first few, which I agree. And even in the first few, it's not always like a fully drawn out thought process. It's like you kind of think a little bit of like, oh, I want to go for level 2, but you don't always have a complete understanding of why you're trying to do it. But so there's a couple of issues that are causing you not thinking about waves after the first few. So the first one is going to be autopiloting,
Good.
and the other one's going to be mental stack. Are you familiar with either of these terms?
Oh, well, autopiloting is just clicking. Oh, I need to kill that minion. That's it.
Yeah,
other-
it's not like
At least
there's
that's how
no
I-
conscious thoughts going on.
Yep. Okay. And the other one is basically how tilted I am, I suppose.
Okay, so mental stack, it has nothing to do with like the mental of are you tilted or whatever. That's completely different. So mental stack is the concept of you can only focus on so many things consciously at once.
Okay.
So like if imagine that you take someone that's never played League before and you put them in a League game. It's going to be hard enough to get them to last hit, much less do it while looking at the mini map and trading with the opponent.
Yep.
So, because you're already struggling with your knowledge of when to take a trade or when to ward or whatever, of course it's going to be harder to focus on the waves because you're just trying to think about so many things at once because you're not able to do them subconsciously or at least take less of the thought process. So yeah, both of those are going to be why. And so the way you fix mental stack is you just slowly work on each one until you become a lot more confident. And then that way you don't have to focus as much on it. Like if you continue to work on your wave management over and over and over again, it'll become a lot easier to free up some of your mind to focus on what the enemy jungler is doing or what the mid laner is doing, whatever. But autopiloting, that's going to be fixed.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be a big one for me because, as I said, I've been playing this game a lot. But like I probably started something like season 3, but I never played ranked because I basically what I did was go in, pick a champion, go to a role. It doesn't matter what the role is. It doesn't matter whatever. I just played blind pick. So there was times where I want to go top. no, I'm going top. Okay, I'm just gonna go support with something that really can be a support or whatever. And I've been doing this for years. And when I finally started playing ranked and I saw that the people are actually trying, like coming from blind pick, I actually saw people that are trying to win the game, and that was just, you know, and I actually won it in. I was super scared because I've never been good at games, and I didn't want to ruin it for everyone else, so I just stayed away. But I think that I got a lot of bad habits that I still never really thought about until I started watching Zen's videos and some other coaches in YouTube and stuff like that, and I probably have a lot of those. So I'm not sure how to approach those, but I'm pretty sure that I have a lot of bad habits.
Yep. Yep. So the bad habits, like with any bad habit in life, you just have to replace it with a good habit.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if your habit is not looking at the minimap, then you just have to fix it by starting to create a habit of looking at the minimap. Or if your habit is always staying way too far in a lane and dying, then your focus needs to be more on like always looking for when you should recall for X thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but for the autopiloting itself, there's a couple different ways to fix that, and yeah, it's going to be harder for you because you have pretty much ingrained into you to autopilot. Um, so you've got, let me some space here. So you've got one, you can talk to yourself like a streamer and just constantly explain why you're doing something. And it may be weird initially, but if you, like, let's say you're playing this game and you're talking to yourself, whether it's out loud or just in your head, and you're like, oh, I'm going to push for level 2. Then you need to be telling yourself, because you're a streamer, so you need to tell your chat, like, why you're pushing for level 2. And if you can't tell yourself why, then there's probably a problem with that idea.
Okay.
So that's one way. If you've ever watched the streamer Whippo, or I say streamer, he's a pro player, but either way.
Yeah, Boop was pretty good at explaining what's going on. Like,
Yeah, so basically pretend you're Whippo. Obviously, you won't be able to explain it as in detail, but if you
yeah.
if you do that, it'll definitely help you in understanding why you're doing things.
Okay.
So there's that. Or you can do where you have an interval timer that just beeps every few minutes.
Oh, I tried that. I
Didn't
tried
work?
metronome map. I was getting more distracted by it than not. Basically,
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, for some people it works, some people it ends up just like fizzling off. So
Yes.
that's just something you try and then see what happens.
I did try it. It wasn't my thing, but I've never tried to explain what I'm doing. Like,
Okay. So then, yeah, you can at least try that, and then hopefully it'll help make sure that you're at least always thinking about what you're doing. So yeah, I will put
okay,
that.
so I just have one question. Like, I mean, I have a lot, but I really wanna honest answer. So let's say I am far behind. I can't really lane. I died twice already, and I'm playing against something very oppressive that can literally one-shot me. So I'm very afraid. Um, is it okay to lose health to go for um to get a minion? Like for instance, just Q in, hit a minion, use Counter Strike to just go out and go back to under the tower, or I should just ping for my jungler, which may not come, and just try to sit there and just soak up the experience, or try to roam to another lane.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're pushing into you. Is that what you're saying?
They're constantly pushing, and my
Okay.
jungler is just being AFK brained and doesn't
Yeah.
want to come.
So if they're pushing into you and they're much stronger than you, then your goal is just to let them crash the wave and you catch the wave under the turret.
Okay.
Now, determining how many minions you go for, obviously when you have Counter-Strike up, you can go for whatever minion. But if you don't have Counter-Strike up, then It depends. A decent rule, it's not perfect, so don't rely on it too much. But one rule to at least think about is if it's going to make you miss the next two minions, then it's probably not worth going for that minion.
Okay.
So you just have to take into account how much poke you can take, and then if they can't dive you off of it, then yeah, you can go for the minions. But sometimes, if they're just that much stronger, then yeah, you just have to grab XP or even recall if you're going to get dove.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about going to try and do something on another lane? Is that a no-go?
Well, if they're shoving the wave into you, you're missing a ton of minions anyway. So I don't think that's worth doing now.
Fair enough. Okay.
Now, if they're freezing the lane and you just can't walk up to get XP, that's completely different. Because then you could look for a roam if you just cannot crash the wave because it's the only thing you can do. But not if they're pushing. That's different.
Fair enough. So I can still hit some minions under my turret, but if they freeze it, just try and do something somewhere.
Yeah, you can. If they're freezing now, you're not going to reach that for a while where they actually hold a freeze properly. But
yeah, I know, but it happens from time to time because a lot of people are currently doing their promos and whatnot because it's the season start. So I've been outclassed in a few games where it's just like so obvious that the person that I'm playing against is out of my caliber that it's not even funny. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, well guys, I'm just not gonna do anything for a while because I can't, because you know my mid laner and my jungler come. And well, the guy just walks away. Like, I've seen my friend how he plays, how he moves his champ. I see the pattern. I see the way he moves. He knows what he's doing. I just really can't explain it better than that. So what I usually do in that case is I just put some wards, if I remember to put some wards, and then I just sit in the bush and I'm soaking experience, but like. The median gap is something like I have 20, he has 100. And at that point, he's just so much stronger than me that he can literally tower dive me and one-shot me and I can do shit.
yeah, so typically if the opponent is freezing and you can't crash it, that means they are stronger. And so, of course, then there's not really... If they do it correctly, there's nothing you can do. That's the whole point of freezing. If they're doing it at the right time, in a situation where it's good, you just have to suck it up.
Yeah, so basically just try to roam mid.
Yeah, you can roam mid, you can take Gromp.
Yep.
Just do something besides just standing there not getting XP.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Because I'm really struggling with that, because I really have... there are some points where I just... I'm getting super indecisive, and I'm like, okay, what to do now? I have no idea. Should I do this? I don't know. Should I do that? I don't know. And I'm just like sitting there because I don't know. And I don't know how. I mean, I'm losing. It's bad enough right now, and I just really don't want to, you know, make the situation go from bad to worse. Yeah. Like with Garen, for instance, if someone's having a good freeze on me, I've literally inted to, you know, remove the freeze, because basically I just go in with QE and then I W and I try to kill as many as minions from his end as possible, just so that I can, you know.
Yeah, but then you give them the free 300 gold and it just gets worse.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what's going to happen is they're going to kill you, they're going to crash the wave, it's going to slow push back into them and freeze again.